sun, my heart's aligned. Peaceful and strong, this life is mine. Unstoppable steps, I move with grace. Accomplished and calm, I claim my space. The mirror reflects the truth I see. Slim and healthy, I'm proud to be. With youthful strength, I freely roam. This vibrant body feels like home. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. My home's a haven, calm and bright, with gardens blooming in soft sunlight. A deck to gather, a pool to play, a sanctuary space to end my day. My work inspires, it lights the way, empowering women to seize their day. Through retreats, my voice in all I've planned, I help them rise and take their stand. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. Across valleys, shores, and Europe's streets, adventure calls where dreams and purpose meet. With loved ones near or solo flight, every journey feels just right. Cars that gleam, my clothes just flow. An effortless life wherever I go. My business thrives, I lead with care. A world of abundance is waiting there. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. With family's joy and laughter near, I walk this path with love and cheer. I'm balanced, warm and strong and true. I shine with purpose in all I do. This is my moment, my heart's design. I rise and thrive, the world is mine. On the hard path where dreams take flight, I shine my brightest, my guiding light.
Hey, hello everybody, and I'm just going to get rid of that YouTube in case nope, it's not going to play. That's good. That's good. I was just checking that it wasn't going to suddenly start playing some random thing as it went on, so that's good. How are you all? Hopefully you are well. And I'm just starting the recording there. And welcome to our second session of the Rise and Thrive sessions. The January session was amazing. There was so much clarity in the journaling and the process that we went through. And in this session, we are going to be going through a similar kind of process about clearing your path and creating space. So that little video we just watched was a video that I created 12 months ago now, and it is such a beautiful reminder of how I want to live my life. It was a video that I created the lyrics to, and then I obviously created put it together like that. But it doesn't embody just what I believe in, what I'm aiming for. I feel like it embodies what I want everybody in my community to achieve. So, welcome, and this is your pause point. We have a lot of things going on in our life which really put a situation where we become really busy. And it's nice to have a time when we can just pause and just reflect and just be us, just for that moment. Just be, I can just be Nicola, just be myself, and without anybody having the pressure of wanting our attention and all those kinds of things. Because as we know, when you are a mum, this is what happens. Okay, so this pause point though is for us to sit in, and sometimes it's uncomfortable to sit in this spot, but when you sit in this spot, it helps you get clear and it helps you move forward. Okay, so tonight's session is going to be reflective, not heavy, and we want to acknowledge that this is a space, a safe space, and there's no need to fix anyone because we are not broken. We are just in a time of our life where we feel as if our wheels are spinning. We're stuck. Okay, so we're not broken at all. If you want to put your camera on, great. If you want to leave it off, fine as well. There will be times in here where we will stop and there'll be journaling times. If you want to participate, I highly encourage that because that's how you're going to get through the most and the best of this session. But if it turns out that, you might be listening and you might not be able to be in a position where you can participate fully, you'll get the replay and you can do it then. So if you haven't already, grab a pen and paper, grab a glass of water, or in my case, a tea. And this is my manifesting generator mug. And get comfortable so that we can get going. Okay, so I want to remind you that you don't need to work harder. You just need a bit of clarity. And this is exactly what we're going to be working towards tonight, finding that clarity so that we can clear the path and clear the space for what's available in our future. Okay, so we just want to settle and arrive. We've still got people coming in. Just relax. So we just want to start by going through just some gentle breathing. And breathing sound scary. When we do breath work, it can sound scary, but really it's not scary at all. And it can be just beautiful, gentle breathing. And one of the best things you can do is just in through the nose, out through the mouth. You inhale through the nose and maybe count to 4, exhale through the mouth, and it's a longer exhale, so maybe count to 6. Okay, so we might just do that for a little while. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now at your own pace, in, out. Make sure these exhales are longer than the inhales. As you continue this cyclic breath, you will notice, and you may not notice because it just happens automatically, you do start to settle. Your heart rate has dropped, your nervous system has kind of like taken a little pause and has started to settle in a place that maybe just even 5 minutes ago you didn't think was possible, and now you are relaxing, even more relaxing. If it keeps banging on the table. That's right. And if you haven't, you'll notice that by now your jaw would be nice and relaxed. Your shoulders have softened. And you're feeling so relaxed and present and ready for what we have ahead of us. All right, one last inhale. And a big exhale this time. And there you go. It's as simple as that. So this is a good way to let your body arrive before your mind does, because your body is now settled and it allows space for your mind to do whatever it needs to do in tonight's session, and to get to the point that it's thinking from like your subconscious rather than always thinking consciously and judgmentally. Okay, because that's not what we want for this. Okay, so this session, the first session is about why we feel stuck. Okay, so this will be in 3 sections. And the purpose of this section is to normalize your experience and remove the blame that comes from things. And most of the time, the blame comes from here, from yourself. And when women tell me they feel stuck, flat, or like they've lost their momentum, they often assume something is wrong with them. But most of the time, there's nothing wrong with them. It's feeling stuck is rarely a motivation problem. Most women are here because they're capable and caring and they've handled a lot in their lives. And they're not lazy, they're not broken, they're just full, overwhelmed. They could be experiencing what I call functional burnout. And functional burnout is when everything is going as per normal. And yet, if you like the duck on the water, is the water's there, the duck's just, casually, calmly swimming along underneath, the legs are going 100 miles an hour. That is what this can look like. Functional burnout really means everything's happening. No one knows anything's different, but deep down, the feeling is different. There's an overcrowding feeling. Okay. So there's 3 layers to this, and it could be that somewhere along the line you have placed too many expectations on yourself, and it's easy to do so. I myself have been there, and in some respects I still do this, and it is one of those things that it's a learned thing. So we're talking about when you put too many expectations on yourself. And when you put too many expectations on yourself, it can come from yourself, it can come from others, or the feeling of judgment that you have from others. Okay, it can come as easy as that, or it could even come from from your childhood, You've absorbed all of these expectations over the years, and somehow they've just built up, stacked, 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 stacked. And you're finding that you're trying to do all of these things, and there's too many of these expectations going on. And you are there. Okay, so that could be where you're feeling. So when you're constantly trying to meet expectations, there's very little room left for anything to come in, for you to hear yourself, to even take time for yourself. And if you can't hear what your body is saying, your mind is going to find it very difficult to also function. And that there's a saying that, this is an inside job. And when they say it's an inside job, this is really about actually functioning from the chin downwards, because from the chin downwards, this is where all the answers are. This is where your feelings come from. This is where you are able to tune into your body. And when you know your human design, this becomes, I wouldn't say easier, but it's easier to recognize. So I myself am an emotional manifesting generator. So for me, I really do need to feel all of my emotions to make decisions. And it hasn't been easy to learn it, but I have along the way. So, so this could be where some of the expectations are. Now, there's also, you could have too many shoulds. And again, these shoulds have come from previous, your history, things, all this pressure you place against yourself. I should be further along. Compared to who? You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Your life is like where you are is perfect right now. I should feel grateful. Okay, maybe. What should you feel grateful for? Any time you can stop and look around in the room that you're in and think of 3 things that you could be grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Like just right near me now, I've got this beautiful lamp that my grandfather made me, and he's passed away. And I have that light on every time that I am doing something in here on video and that, because to me it's a reminder that I'm grateful of the guidance he gave me. So it can be something like that. Or, another should is I should know what's next by now. Now, we don't have a script of our life. So there's no way anyone should know what's next by now. And we're always learning every day. We are always learning. My grandmother passed away when she was just short of her 102nd birthday. And she used to say to me, "Oh, Nick," she goes, "I can't believe I'm 100 and I'm still learning things." So it never stops. We are always learning. And the lessons that we're learning, the experience we're experiencing, they are things that we are going to unpack for the future, for when it is like when we are in the situation where we think, okay, this is a life lesson I've had before. How did I deal with it before? Okay. So now these shoulds keep the mind busy, really, with useless things. But what they don't do is they don't help you move forward. Okay, and they create pressure, and there's no clarity in them, because when you live in the past, there's a lot of fear, a lot of resentment, all sorts of feelings in the past, and there's no clarity there unless you have taken the process to specifically sit down and revise what's happened and learn from an experience, which sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Now, the last one is that we have too much emotional and mental load. And this happens to all of us. It kind of creeps in. I know I still do it. And it kind of creeps in to a point where I'm starting to feel as if things are not right. And then when I stop, I think, oh, okay, I'm doing too much. So some of the things could be like carrying other people's needs. So as a mum, it's easy to do that because we're constantly looking out for everybody else in our family, and we are really looking for trying to make their life easier. Sometimes by making their life easier, it's making our life easier. But are we helping them? Are we actually helping them learn that life lesson? Because as a parent, I like to think I've got the guardrails for my kids and they're going down the highway, they're learning their own lessons. I'll always be there to try and be the guardrails to steer them. But it's not my job to, especially now they're both adults, to give them, like interfere with what they need or what I think they need because they might not need it. And both of my children have a 3 or a 6 in their profile, which for human design is is like a life lesson. Human design. They're only going to get what they need out of this life by making these life lessons. So, carrying other people's needs happens. Making invisible decisions. So I often find myself thinking about things that don't matter, probably will never happen, and making all these decisions about things that, it's probably not going to happen. So that could happen. This increases the emotional and the mental load. And then holding unfinished conversations, unresolved feelings, and unmade choices. So again, now, so I'm talking about human design a fair bit in this. It wasn't planned, but it's just coming up. I have a totally open head in human design. So what that means for me is that there's not as much clarity in my thoughts and my inspiration and imagination, and I do kind of like sometimes get on a loop of self-talk, and I do have a lot of conversations in my head. And I don't try to stop them because I know that they give me, in the end, I will give them clarity. But when you hold on to conversations that say you've had with someone else, and you try and in your mind you're trying to work out what's happened and you re-script it or something like that, or there's unresolved feelings and you're trying to like hold on to that in there, it can really be quite detrimental to our emotional and mental load. So even when life looks fine on the outside, the inside can feel very noisy. So we go back to the duck on the water. So everything looks fine, but underneath, busy, busy, busy. And this is how we can feel on the inside. So if you've been feeling heavy, foggy, or unsure, it's not because you're doing life wrong. It's often because there's just simply too much being carried at once. And, we all do it. And I think the biggest thing is having the awareness and recognizing when you have come to that point that is too much. Okay, when it is too much. Just reading some comments here. Yeah, they're very true. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to bring it back together. Okay, so when life is misaligned, what happens is, and as a manifesting generator, my not self theme is frustration. So when I feel frustrated, I know there's something wrong, and I know that it's time for me to stop and revise and go slow and try and work out what is wrong. And it might not mean that anything's wrong, but what I need to change. So, and this is when you might feel like your energy is leaking a little bit. It's disappearing. You kind of might feel drained, and nothing. It just feels like it's not quite right. So this is things like doing things once that fit and it feels right, but then when you go to do it again the next time, it doesn't feel right anymore. And that could just be because in that moment, your body really wanted to do it and you had the energy for it. But then the next time you went to do it, it kind of, oh no, it didn't have the right shine or the right edge on it, and it didn't feel right. Saying yes out of habit. This is something that a lot of people do. This is an automatic reflex to, it's like the people pleaser. You just say yes because someone's asked you and it's been a habit and you just do it. But again, we're going from the chin down. If you actually checked into your body, it would tell you whether that really was a yes or a no. And then you would be able to decide from what your body desires, not out of habit. And this is also the same where we have a situation where you could be living from old roles that you've played, especially for women in their 40s and 50s, even into their 60s, as they start to go through body changes. Their children are getting older. They don't really have the, mum's taxi role anymore, or the sports mum role anymore, because either their children don't play sport anymore or their children are going to the sport themselves and they don't need you to be there. Even though you might want to be, you can still be there, but the role has slightly changed. So this is where you can check in with your current values. And if you haven't got your current values sorted out, that's fine. You can contact me after and I'll send you my values ebook, because it is a highly valuable resource and you can step through it that way. So just remember that your energy doesn't disappear, it drains away in places that no longer match who you are. And as we evolve over the years, every year we're not the same person, because we've learnt lessons. I learnt lessons last year that I hadn't ever learnt before. So I am a different person now than what I was 5 years ago. Okay, for example. So what happens is this kind of, as this drains away, this is how we kind of feel as if like we're lost, or this is not the match who we are anymore, and we kind of feel like we don't know who we are. And often when people join my free group, the Rise and Thrive Collective, when they come in, there's questions that I ask them to answer, and they're very vulnerable in what they're saying about, and this is what they're echoing. They don't know who they are. They've kind of feel like their wheels are spinning. They're stuck. They need a way out of this. So the good news is, though, is that momentum doesn't come from pushing harder or adding anything else. It returns when alignment returns. And alignment can look different to everybody, because, again, we're going from the chin downwards, so everyone's going to feel something different. And I'm going to go back to human design again. No matter what your energy type is, generators, projectors, manifesting generators, whatever you might be, everyone has a different way of feeling inside. So alignment could look like, to some people, that they want to let go of what no longer serves them. This is outdated. I'm throwing it out the window. This is no more anymore. I don't want this. Alignment could look like making some space for what matters now. Now, that could be creating a little beautiful morning routine for yourself where you sit down and meditate and journal. It could be creating a space in your house that could be just for you. I know one of my clients they were craving a space that was just for them. There really wasn't anywhere in their house that they could do it. So she made a little nook in her closet, and she could shut the door and she could go in there and she could do this for, she did breath work and meditation. She'd just be in there for like 10 or 15 minutes. and then come out, and that was her space for what she knew she needed right then, and that was breath work and meditation. Or it could be something grander like making space and going away for the weekend just for you, going to a retreat for the weekend, something like that. Okay, it could be giving yourself permission to choose differently. Okay, a lot of people just do the same thing because they feel like it's what they know, and inside, our ego is constantly fighting with us to keep us safe. It wants to keep us safe. And by doing that, it just has a feeling of like, okay, we're just going to do this again on repeat. We've done it before, we survived it before, so we're just going to do it again. So when you choose something different and you step out of that comfort zone, it does feel really uncomfortable. Your ego doesn't like it because something's not, something doesn't feel safe, something's different, something's not right. But what happens is when you step out of that zone and you've stretched your zone just a little bit, it kind of warms up in there. Yeah, it's comfortable in here, it's not too bad. And then you might think, okay, well, I did it once, I can take another step. And then you take another step, and before you know it, your comfort zone is like gone from like this size to massive, because you are willing to back yourself to choose differently, to take risks, to do things that you wouldn't normally do. So tonight isn't about fixing yourself. It's about removing what's in the way so that your natural momentum can come back online. Okay, so, and when I say online, I mean like in alignment with how you want to feel. That is the most important thing. Okay, so clarity isn't something that you have to chase. Okay, it usually arrives once there's room for it. And again, this is actually totally unscripted for human design, I have to say, but it just keeps coming to me. One of the main principles of human design is not to push, to just let it flow and just, trust the universe. And, well, this is just fitting in perfectly with this, I have to say. Oh dear. Okay, there's some more comments. Whoops, we've lost it. Oh, I can't bring the chat up now. Oh, here we go. Oh, Fiona's agreeing with me. Yes, it's so magic, human design. It is like magic. It really is a magic. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of the nitty-gritties here. So, put that down. All right, so I'm going to ask you to write freely this prompt, and I haven't got a slide for it, so I'm just going to read it out. There's 3 prompts. I will put them in. So tomorrow when you get your replay email, I will put them in the replay email for you as well, so that they're there and it's easier for you to see. So the first prompt is, right now, what's taking up the most space in my head or my heart? Now, we're not going to worry if you're chin down for this one, because a lot of what, well, like I said in the first few minutes, a lot of what's going on here is happening in your head. And maybe you can't feel into your heart yet because your head is ruling the show. So you can do this any way that feels right for you. You can just write and scroll and write. You can put bullet points. Whatever it is, whichever way you do it, I want this to be quick. I want this to be unfiltered. Nobody else needs to see it. There is no judgment here. The more honest you are about this, the more clarity you will get in this whole process. So I'll give you, let's see, I'll give you 5 minutes on here. I've got, I haven't got anything that I can put on as a timer. I'll just watch the clock. I've got a timer. So I'll give you 5 minutes. And If you have questions, you're welcome to put a question in the chat. Oh, oh, Fiona. What I said at the beginning, you didn't quite hear the beginning, was that if you don't feel as if you have to, as if you can do this right now, don't. I did say that. So if you are feeling as if you need to do this a different time, absolutely, no worries. Okay, so you can sit and be whatever, however you want to do this, Fiona. Um, so about 7:40 we'll stop. Okay, so I'll let you decide whether you want to do this or not. It's up to you. Sometimes if you are, you do kind of need to, I think you do need to be like dropped in a little bit. So you might be a little bit emotional to do this. But then in saying that, more could come up. And I'm going to be quiet to give you some space. Okay, just a little bit of time to go. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I want you to do, we're going to have a look at that list. Okay, and so we're going to work out what's no longer aligned. And this is where a lot of honesty needs to come into this as well. Okay, and be gentle with yourself as you're doing this, because this could be the first time that you've realized something, that something has come up for you. So this is the second prompt. So looking at what you've written, what feels complete, outdated, or no longer aligned with who you are now. Okay, now this could be something about the roles you're playing, expectations that yourself or other people place on you, things you feel obliged to do, patterns that are reoccurring in your life all the time, anything that you feel you're carrying that's emotional labor, anything that you feel is too heavy for you, you shouldn't be carrying it anymore. And there's a whole, that could be like even a whole can of words, just worms, just that little bit as well. So just for yourself, acknowledge that this doesn't mean that you need to act on it today. So what we're doing now is we are just creating an awareness for this. And this could be the first time that you have come to this realization. And the first time you come to a realization, sometimes it doesn't land properly. It's very uncomfortable and it might not feel like, right now in this moment, it may not feel real. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that as well. And we'll just have one more minute. Okay. All right. So whether you had that finished or not, you can come back to it. Now this is going to be just the same as with the journaling one. That when we had the journaling one in January, the session, I invited you to leave that page open, and you came back to it and wrote down. This could be the same kind of thing. Um, it's this is not really a long time to work this out. What you've written though tonight is probably going to give you a lot of clarity because you've written it without thinking. And normally the first things that come down that you write down are probably that's where the gold is. But then also, as you think about more of it, depending on what gifts you have in your human design, you might uncover more. Okay. Now, one of the biggest myths around change is that you need to add something new to get unstuck. So you need to do something different, a new plan, a new goal. I'm going to make reinvent myself, or something like that, a new version of myself. But for most women, the issue isn't that there's nothing there, it's that there's too much. And this is where overwhelm can come in because they're trying to sort themselves out and they're just lost in the weeds down the bottom. And they're trying to get up to like the flowers at the top to see over the horizon, I guess, if you can imagine that analogy. But there's too much going on. There's just not enough space for them to create anything. So the space, though, that can be created, it's not empty space, it's about building capacity. So the space doesn't mean that, you're quitting your life because, sometimes it's amazing and I mentioned this before, it's amazing to actually just go away for the weekend by yourself, book a hotel room, stay in a hotel room for the weekend and just I don't know, do nothing, read a book, whatever. That is amazing. That's creating space for your own well-being. Doesn't mean you're quitting. You've created the space. So space doesn't mean that you're kind of like forgetting other things as well, and that you're turning your attention to other things that really, and forgetting things that don't need to be, forgetting things that do need to be attended to. It doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be making drastic decisions overnight. It's a slow process, and the only times you really need to make decisions instantly on the spot are about survival, like life or death situations. Other than that, you can take your time to make decisions, to have some time, even if it's 10 minutes. You can say, can I get back to you in 10 minutes? So these decisions, what we're doing is not drastic. It's not an overnight fix. So when I think of space, it just means like you're creating room to breathe, room to hear yourself. And you're not really hearing here, you're hearing it here. You're hearing it in the way of feeling. And there's room for energy to move again. So when your life is full, it feels as if you get up and you are go, 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 go. Everything's got to be done. Everything's urgent. Any decision you make, oh my gosh, why do I have to make this decision now? It feels so heavy. Even when good things happen, in the middle of the day, your friend might ring you and you haven't spoken to your friend for a while. That's a good thing. But just to stop and pause and talk to your friend, it feels like an effort because you feel like there's not enough space there. So what happens when all of this is happening is that momentum, it struggles. And momentum cannot function in a crowded space. It needs that room. It needs that openness. So momentum doesn't usually disappear because we've failed. It disappears because we're exhausted from carrying everything that no longer fits. And if we could actually, have a graphic of our shoulders as a woman with children, families, or just, general life, it might feel as if we've got like two chopping boards on our shoulders, and they're full of stuff that we're carrying because it feels like it's a heavy load and it doesn't fit. Okay, we're exhausted from all of this and we don't want it anymore. The things that we're carrying around, which are no longer serving us, are things like roles you've outgrown, expectations you never consciously chose, and these have come from your upbringing, your inner child, your childhood, expectations that people kept putting on you. At the beginning of this session, we talked about all those shoulds. And when people should all over you, the expectation feels a lot. Habits that once supported you but now drain you, it's okay to outgrow things. So it's okay to think, okay, no, I don't really want to do that anymore. And your body will tell you whether you want to do anything or not. And then you have the emotional weight that is kind of like floating around somewhere and it hasn't really had a place to land because you haven't actually landed yourself. You haven't given yourself that chance to be still and process and think. And, if that means going into your wardrobe and sitting down for 10 minutes and doing breath work and meditation, do it. Just let it land. So when we keep carrying what's outdated, this is how all of our energy leaks. It leaks out. It leaks out without us noticing it. Slowly, quietly, we have no idea. And then suddenly we're kind of stuck. That's when we feel like the wheels are turning. So momentum returns naturally when alignment returns. Okay, so momentum doesn't need to be forced. It just can return naturally when your life starts to line up with who you are now, not with who you were 10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever it might be, because the woman that you are right now at the beginning of 2026 has learnt a whole lot of stuff and should be proud of everything that you've learnt from all of the experiences that you've been through. Whether they, no matter how good or bad they were, you've learnt lots. Okay? So alignment isn't about being perfect. Right? You just go through with it. And I often say to my clients, fake it till you make it. Some people like that, some people don't. But to me, what that means is that you are giving it your best shot. You are having your best go because what is perfect? There is no thing of perfection. Unless you're an Olympian and you get a 10 for a perfect whatever, ice skating or whatever. Our life is not a performance. Our life is ever evolving. So, yes, we do have to fake it till we make it in the best possible way. It's about being honest with yourself, and it's about noticing what feels heavy versus what feels clean. So when something aligns, your energy will start to flow again. The decisions become clearer because suddenly you're using your body and your head to function. You're not just functioning all up here in the overwhelm, you're using your whole of your body. Then as you start making steps, it feels lighter. And you realize that when you actually just let it flow, you just move. Okay, this is probably going to go for a little bit over an hour. So I've spoken way more than what I was planning to, but I'm sure that's fine. Okay, so what I would like to remind you is that most of you will be listening on the replay. So creating space doesn't require a big dramatic move. It just requires one small shift. Okay, I'm going to say that again. When you create space, it doesn't require a big dramatic move. It often begins with just one small shift. And it's really easy to do these shifts and work them into your everyday life without really changing a lot of things. And you could just do one little thing, change one thing. If you're going to change just one thing, this is what I suggest. When someone asks you to do something, pause. Think about it. Feel into your body. And then say yes or no. If they're on the phone, say, can I ring you back in 10 minutes? You don't have to say yes straight away. Just doing that one little thing could change a lot for you. Other things that you could do, if you're starting to feel as if this feeling is coming, this overwhelming feeling or frustration or anger, whatever it might be, bitterness, these are some of the feelings in human design. Recognize it, name it, and stop. Stop and see what is it you need to do differently. Choose rest without any justification at all, because your body is telling you. You don't need to justify why you are choosing to have a rest. And allow yourself not to decide yet, which is what I was saying before. Give yourself space. Okay. And a really great way to make a decision. I've got my RISE principle. Which is this is my RISE framework. So R is to reflect on your values. I is to integrate the feelings of all of this into you. And if you know your human design authority, it will take it to a next level. S is to simplify it by asking you yourself one simple question. And that one simple question is, what matters most right now? And then E is take empowered action. So that is my RISE principle. Again, this is not scripted into this. But anyway, here we go. I'm in the flow of it. So any one of those, if you choose any one of those, could create a surprising amount of clarity for you. Get out on the grass. Take your shoes off. Get out on the grass and dance on the grass. Can I bring you back in 10 minutes? Out on the grass, dance, move the energy around, see how it feels. You're going to get a lot of clarity from it. Okay, so this is what tonight is about. It's not about fixing. It's not about like overhauling your life. It's just about noticing what's in the way and giving yourself permission to loosen your grip. Because when we hold on so tight, sometimes we don't even realize we're holding on so tight. And we hold on so tight that we don't create the energy to flow around us to create any other possibilities. So tonight isn't about leaving with this all figured out, because there's no possible way we can do this in this amount of time. And I would say my journey on my own personal development journey started in about 2011. Yeah, probably 2011. And I'm still, what is it, 2026? So years later, I wouldn't say I've got everything figured out. There's a lot of things I still haven't figured out, but I get better at recognizing it. So what tonight's about is just creating one clear step, one more little space that you can create to have the courage to take that one step to get out of that comfort zone. Okay. So when we stop carrying what isn't ours anymore, life has a funny way of meeting us halfway. Now, this is true because the universe does look in, and the things that you say no to, it notices what you're saying no to, and it will keep sending you different things that you might say yes to. And when you start saying yes to some things, it sends you more things that it thinks, oh, okay, she likes that. I'll send her more of those. So it's like the power of attraction in a way. If you think of a white car because you've got a white car or you want to buy a white car or something, suddenly you'll see all the white cars. Okay, that kind of thing. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get some clarity. Clarity is powerful, but clarity on its own can sometimes stay in our heads. So what creates this change is when clarity meets a small action. So there's no point having the idea and then not doing anything about it. So we're going to find one grounded action that you can use from this process that we've gone through tonight. And this isn't about making any big decisions or a drastic move. It's more about you choosing that one thing that feels as if it's honest and true to you right now, and of course is manageable. Because like I said before, when we have change, it's not about big things, it's normally about little things. And if the most manageable thing you can think of is pausing before you respond, that is actually going to be a game changer for you. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the overwhelm. So when you're overwhelmed, the nervous system looks for safety. Okay, it's thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? I need something. And then if there's too many options, you do nothing because there's too many options. And it's like, I'm frozen, I can't decide. So this is why one thing is good. Okay, we're going over time, but I'm going to tell you this story. I heard this story somewhere, and there was there's like a number of salespeople in this shoe store, and there was always this one person who was the top seller every single month. This one person was the top seller in the shoe store, and the owner said to them, what's your secret? Why are you always the top? Can you share, all that kind of thing? And it turned out that what this person was doing was when the person came in that wanted shoes, he would ask them what they wanted. I think it was a he. He would ask them what they wanted. He would ask them preferences, and then he would go and get two options, only two options. And he would say, I think these might be right for you. So they would try them on, and then from those two, they would choose one. But the other sales clerks were bringing out, like 6, 7 pairs of shoes. Do you want this, this? Because they didn't really take the time to get to know the person they were serving. Just through a few questions. And we're getting to know ourselves a bit better through this process. And it does mean, excuse me, talking too much today at school. It does mean that when you've got fewer options, you're not going to freeze. Okay, so one step feels easier. It feels as if we can build that trust, that we can take one step. Just one step out of our comfort zone is better than 10 steps, because you're absolutely going to be more successful with one step than 10, because it's not going to feel as uncomfortable. So small steps don't mean small impact. They're often the most sustainable ones. Okay, these are the ones that are the ones that stick. Okay, go back to the analogy of the comfort zone. One step out feels uncomfortable, but you haven't really come that far out, so your ego's like, oh, okay, all right, I'll put up with this for a bit. And then you go one step. So it's like that, one step at a time. Okay, so when you think about your steps, the next step isn't about what you should do. It's about what feels aligned with who you are now. Okay, because we're getting rid of the shoulds. We are not shoulding on ourselves anymore. We are feeling into what it is that we want. And you could say things like, how you going to go forward. It could be an action. It could be a boundary that you're setting. It could be a conversation that you know you have to have. And it might be that you just decide to have that pause moment. Okay, whatever it is. It might not be any of them, but they're just examples of what you could do. So sometimes when you think of these aligned steps, it might feel tricky, but you realize you're not really adding anything new. What you are doing though is you're removing the pressure of having to do more because it's just one little thing. Okay, so we're going to have another prompt. So I want to ask you this. Okay, so gently ask yourself this question. What is one small values aligned step that you can take this week to create more space? That's it. And you don't necessarily have to write this down right now. If you're watching this, you probably would have already had something land. And that's the great value of our unconscious mind. The unconscious mind really knows deep down what you're in your heart of heart you desire. What stops us from hearing it is our conscious mind and our ego, because our ego does not want us to be unsafe, risky, anything like that. Okay. But if nothing jumps out straight away, that's okay. And again, tune into your body because your body might actually be telling you before your mind does. All right. And in this prompt, it's good to write it as a full sentence. Okay, a full sentence, because the you don't need to just like you don't need to like a paragraph or anything like that. It's a bit like an affirmation. Okay, so I've got an affirmation that I've got here. She's layered, not lost. Um, I just stick that up here. But yeah, it could be like an I am statement or, something like that. I am going to pause every time someone asks me, I don't know, to do something for them. Okay, something like that. All right. Okay, so if you're listening to this on the replay, absolutely pause anywhere through here. Okay, or sit with the questions. And you might be listening to this, say, like I often listen to podcasts and replays while I'm doing things, doing the dishes, doing the housework, and I'm listening. And then sometimes I think, okay, that's it, I've got to stop because I've got to write something down now because something will just come in and it will be burning and I just have to write it down. All right. So often like the clarity drops in when you least expect it sometime. Because you're not pushing it, you're not forcing it. It'll what you've done is you've asked this question, your unconscious mind will unpack it. All right. So your next step, um, you don't need to share it with anyone, whatever that might be. You don't need to share it with anyone. If you're watching this on the replay and you want to message me or reply back to the email and let me know, I'd love to know what it is because I'd love to be your cheerleader for it. All right, you don't have to justify this next step. It doesn't have to be perfect, whatever it is. It just needs to be true to you, true to what you want at this moment. Okay. All right. So we're going to close this up now. So I just want you to remember that momentum doesn't come from doing everything at once. So it comes from choosing that one step, the one honest step, and trusting yourself enough to take it. Okay, and I want you to remember that you're not behind, you're not broken, you just had enough. And you're just drawing that line in the sand and saying, this doesn't belong to me anymore. I don't want this anymore. Okay, if you have enjoyed this session, I do have a free Facebook group, the Rise and Thrive Collective, which you could join. And then this is the second of a series of that I've so far I've planned 5 or 6 of these in the first half of this year. So this is the second of a series. So these sessions are really about creating ongoing momentum. The topics will be different every time, and you'll get, if you register for every one, you'll get a replay, whether you can make it or not to the live event. Okay, so I'd love to see you in my group. I will send an email out that'll come out tomorrow with the replay. I'll put all of these prompts in there just to make it easier for you as well. I'll put a link to the group, and I'll also include the values ebook. Okay, that way I can make sure that everyone gets it, because I've got a note here that Fiona wanted it, but I'll send it in the email. May have even been in the last email, can't remember. But it looks like this. I've got it right here, actually. Looks like this. Okay, looks like that. And it has like a list of it's a workbook. It's a workbook on getting your top 5 values. It is very, very, very powerful. I absolutely love living by my values. It's like chef's kiss. Love it. All right. So thank you for pausing with me today or tonight or whenever you're listening. And I really want to remind you that when you choose momentum over stagnation, you can't stay where you are. You can't stay stuck, because there's something will always be going. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to say, trust the path, because wherever the path leads you, that's where you're going to go. And thank you for joining me tonight. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.